Yeah, should we start for real? I haven't been in any hurry here because we are like 40 minutes ahead of schedule.
Yeah. We can talk shit now.
Nice.
Oh, nice. We can soft like 5 times.
Yeah, I can jail like
Yeah,
5
we can
times.
jail like 5 times. Easy money. I remember this when gimmick starts.
Yeah, so let's get going, I guess. And in 3, 2, 1, go. Right. So this game is Mega Man, the original one. It's a pretty early title on the NES. It already has the core gameplay that the rest of the series is famous for, but you're gonna see a shocking lack of polish from the game. If someone is looking to try out the game casually, I recommend you try any other game in the series instead. But the best speed games aren't necessarily the most polished casual games, and this game is an excellent speed run. The physics of the very first Mega Man are pretty broken in several ways. You're gonna see more of it later once we get the magnet beam in the next stage and the run opens up. But you're already seeing a couple of things that you wouldn't expect from a later game of the series. There's a score counter on the screen. It does absolutely nothing. It's just there because back in the day people couldn't conceive the game not having one. Also, we got a pause button that was removed from the second one. Pausing lets you do several interesting things. Right here I've been using it to cancel knockback. I can just run into enemies at will basically, then pause, unpause and keep going. Later on we're gonna use it to run out bosses' invulnerability frames. Also coming up very soon, you're gonna see the game doesn't handle screen wrapping very well. We're gonna grab a ladder at the bottom of the screen from the top. But, yeah, the first stage and a half are pretty slow before the run really opens up. Oh yeah, thanks Rufio.
Get them to do a football.
I never do that. I was just going to take all day waiting for the Stomper. I actually killed myself in an Elecman Stomper in one practice turn. Turns out that guy has a pretty much larger hitbox than it looks like.
Yeah, this is just RNG if you're gonna die here if you have low health enough.
So since I got that extra health, I could just afford to do that. Otherwise, would have died since that guy does insane damage. If you do the stage perfectly, you have just enough health to take the hit. So that's what you normally do. So here I'm not going to use the select glitch to kill the boss, since Cutman is pretty easy to keep in invulnerability frames anyway. One pretty nice thing about this game is that when the bosses are invulnerable, instead of them eating up your shots, they just pass through them. So I can do this, like fire multiple shots before he's gonna come out of iframes, then they'll stay on top of him and you get a full invulnerability frame coverage, basically for free. And, coming up is Elecman stage. It's kind of a experimental stage. It's a huge climb. It doesn't actually work very well in this game, but you know, they tried. Halfway through the stage, we're gonna grab a magnet beam, which lets us proceed by jumping instead of climbing ladders, which is a lot faster, and we're gonna do it as much as possible. Magnet beam is one of the most powerful movement-enabling items in any Mega Man game. I think like Mega Man 5 Super Arrow challenges it and pretty much nothing else, I think. So to actually grab the magnet beam, we're gonna need to do some glitching there. Gonna do the first zips in the run. The intended way to get it is to do a Gutsman first. Gutsman's weapon is used to block up certain blocks on the stage, which are... There are a couple of in front of the magnet beam. Okay, let's try to...
Nice.
Yeah, okay, I'm playing these super safe. That one specifically costs like 20 seconds if you fall down. And it's really tight timing. But yeah, turns out that you don't actually need the Gutsman weapon to get magnet beam. You can instead do ladder boost, which requires you to grab the ladder higher than normally at the very top of it, which is you need to press B and down at the very same frame and release the D-pad immediately after a single frame. And it gives you the up boost that you normally get at the bottom of the ladder, except at the top of it, which is enough to push us into the ceiling. Okay, I'm gonna just push this out. You know, normally in runs I never do that. I just run and try to press A earlier rather than later, so that if I fail, I would just get kicked out too early instead of soft locking. Yeah, so if I went too far there, what am I doing? If I went too far there, I would have ended up inside the room there, and there would be no way for me to get out or kill myself, so just reset the game, lose the 5 minutes. But yeah, some marathon nerfs there, doing it super safe. I think I have enough damage to take a hit from a Stomper if I avoid that beam.
Yeah, you can. But the climb is gonna be dangerous.
It's always dangerous.
Let's go. This is a hard one. Oh, nice. Okay. Got him.
Yeah.
Nice.
So normally when you shoot while you're climbing a ladder, you get stuck there for a little while. So to get those fast beam placements, you need to... Okay, yeah. Okay, that's not actually super hard, but I've messed it up in practice. But yeah, to get the fast ladder beams, you need to first let go of the ladder, then while in free fall, you very quickly place the beam and then resume climbing again, and you need to do this perfectly in order so you don't re-grab the ladder too early and get stuck anyway, or fall down so far that you lose all the time gain from that. Those are pretty tight inputs to get past the beams there.
Now we start to use the beam a lot.
Yeah, the rest of the run is gonna look pretty different from what we've seen so far. So one way we can set up those wall ejects is, well, okay, that's too low, so we're not gonna do it here. Well, let's...
And go swim.
Whatever. Yeah, I'm just gonna go swim. Yeah, so plan A there is to set up a zip at the top of the screen, which requires a pixel-perfect beam placement there. Plan B is to use beams to walk over the water there. Which I failed because I jumped just a bit too late from the beam and it expired under me. Then walking the water is extremely slow. These platforms are super random, all of their movement and shots.
So what p0lari did there was like a pixel perfect position where you set up the beam, so you can zip from it after that. It needs to be in the just in the right pixel. So.
Yeah, so that's not actually quite as hard as it looks like, since almost every zip setup is in the game is the same height, so you just drill that one into your muscle memory and okay, yeah, I got one.
Yeah, but that takes a while to learn the muscle memory. But that's the trick.
Yeah, if your jump is the perfect height, you have a window of a few frames to get it, so it's not like frame perfect, but it is hard. It takes practice. Especially doing it while running, where you need to like juggle both at once. The way that I did it by placing a single beam there at the end of the first screen is it's a bit slower. I need to stop for it, but it's a lot more consistent doing it that way.
And in the second one zip, you did the buffer version of the zip, so you can just press A and B at the same time. If your setup beam is high enough, you get a visual cue and just play A and B at the same time, and you get the zip beam just at the right height every time. That's a new thing we found about this game.
Yeah, so the thing there is that when you jump at a specific moment and start holding B at a specific moment, the beam starts extending at like at the controlled time, and it will reach the wall just as you're landing from the jump. So
here, like that.
Yeah. I don't actually know how you get that pixel there consistently.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But like the very basic thing is pretty simple. Like you just start at the same specific time, so it extends to the wall at a specific time, and you get it the height you want.
For example, there the visual cue is like a line on the ground, and here there's an ice pixel. Yeah. Now that one is just muscle memory and learning. But you can set up that with the ladder too.
Yeah, and also there's a buffer setup that you can do. Which I would have done as a backup if I didn't get the exactly right pixel there. Oh wait, that's 1 pixel too low. That's way too high.
And these corridor zips are the same thing. You just drop the beam at the right height, and then you are between the beam and the ceiling, and then you zip.
Yeah. So the corridor zips don't look like much, like you don't skip huge part of the stage or anything. But given how fast zipping is and how slow walking is in this game, they save for a full-length beam, it's a 3-second time save each, so that if you get all of them that is possible to do in the run, it's a huge time save overall.
I think I think Cardina was talking about something like 15 seconds, what I can remember.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 3 seconds a beam, and there are 3 stages where you can do 2 beams each, so it adds up to 18 seconds if you do them perfectly.
Something like that.
I'm losing track of. But it's really hectic trying to cover everything that's happening in those stages, and
it's basically the same stuff either way, like doing the same techniques.
Okay, I always accidentally menu into magnet beam there instead of ice.
So we are now doing the ice strat, and then we are freezing the sniper Joe in the next part, and not using the.
Also turret here. There's a big boy strat that top runners do. That they use switch it immediately into magnet. Then instead of freezing this guy here, you're gonna use magnet beams to stay near the top of the screen for this whole screen. And that guy's a huge turret, moves unpredictably. It's pretty hard, and all it saves you is that one menu. So let's see if I get this one. Okay, that's way too low. No matter.
It's still good.
This is the most annoying setup in the run. That's
too low. That's the one.
What?
Got it. we good.
We're good. Yeah, so the issue there is that in every other, like, basically that's the same pixels everywhere else. You should get it as consistently, but the issue is that there's no background that you can judge whether you got it right, so it's much harder to tell.
Yeah, it's just that eye. You train your eye to see about it. What's the light?
Yeah, honestly, most of the time I just go for it regardless and then find out when my zip doesn't work.
And here you take the iframes off, and it's just a timing thing.
Yeah, so the timing for the select mashing is actually pretty tricky. You can't just mash select because there's a slight pause, like a slight delay after you unpause the game because the game starts running again. So if you just mash select, the game never fully unpauses and you accomplish nothing. So you need to press select to pause the game, then unpause quickly, then wait a specific moment and then do it over again. And if you're too fast, nothing happens. If you're too slow, the game gets to run for. Oh man! I'm gonna wait here.
That's too long. Well, that works.
Yeah, so what you normally want to do there is you waste no time at all in the very first section of the stage where the platforms are running on a global timer. And then you jump on that platform at the far right end before it does that dip where it would. Is it high enough? No, it's not.
Low.
Oh well, this isn't the major one.
Well, no big deal. But yeah, it started to set up a buffer there again, but the beam was too low, the setup beam, it's harder to get there.
Yeah, when the reason I actually took damage from the first method instead of just killing it is that if you get unlucky and get a drop, it will interrupt your jump. So those are all way too low. So if that happens, then you just miss the cycle. With pause, you lose a bit of time to the knockback, but you should be able to make it consistently if you execute it well.
An ass grab. Nice.
Yeah. Too bad we ended on a freeze frame where it's invisible.
Now it's a run.
Yeah, getting into the wily stages. So this game is a lot shorter than the other Mega Man games, which is 20 minutes is a pretty nice length for a speed run. Instead of 8 Robot Master stages and a lot of wily stages, we have 6 and 4. Also in wily stages in this game too, God, this is loud. Yeah, in wily stages you don't replenish your energy between stages. It doesn't really matter for the rest of the weapons, but of course, with how useful Magnet Beam is, we have routed all of that usage. I think I have one extra beam to spare with the stretch I'm going for. Also, taking these 2 intentional hits here, we're pretty tight on health for Wily 1.
There. Nice.
To pause for a moment there. If I start zipping immediately, I die as I enter the wall. I have no idea why that happens actually. Oh, nice. Good RNG from these guys.
That zip is different than the other ones because if you start it too early, like instantly, you will hit with the wall and just die. So you have to wait a little while, like a half a second before you can start the zip.
So here's these jerks once again. I'm gonna hope they don't rise up high and...
Yeah, that's a tricky one because the patterns go randomly, like RNG, like how they move. So it's a pretty tricky one. And in this game, spikes don't like care about your iframes. So if you get hit and drop down, it's dead every time.
Yeah, that's another difference from the later Mega Man's. Iframes won't save you from spikes. Yeah, since we got lucky on the first set of enemies, I actually do have enough health to tank a hit here. After taking the unintentional damage in the spike room. Okay, we got a high ice spawn, so this should be easy. The ice spawns ran somewhat randomly inside his body, so if it spawns really low and you fire early, you have a really short window where you can do the pausing. Then if you're low on health, if you do have enough health, you can then take one hit and fire second beam. If you fall down to 4 or less, then you need to finish it on the first beam, which is put some pressure on you.
Ooh, wait for it. That is pretty scary. I've seen a lot of people die in there.
So this stage has some big boy strats that we're not going for here. You could zip into the wall and jump up there off screen and skip these fights, but in addition to being really hard, it's partially random, and if you mess up, you can soft lock the game and need to restart, so even the top runners don't go for it in marathon runs. Whoops. So here's another difference from later Mega Mans. Instead of having a dedicated refight stage where you do this one by one, these guys are in the middle of stages. We're fighting these two in Wily 2, and the rest other 4 are going to be in Wily 4, though those ones we do get to skip with an easier trick than the Wily 2 skips. Let's see if I can...
Nice.
Nice. Let's see if I can get the wrap too.
Now we can try the wrap again. No, we get it, but it's still good. It's still good.
Yeah.
There's spikes like couple blocks under that, so you die if you don't get out the wall like early enough.
Yeah, so you can't just drop to the next screen, but you could do the screen wrap, but it's really hard, and I don't really practice it because that specific time, for the specific timing, that's the only place where in the run where it matters. So you try it once and you probably don't get it, and that's okay. So let's see. So we're gonna do this jump and shoot timing here to manipulate the boss. And there's a fire shield glitch. If you press B again while your shield has expired but the projectile is still on screen, you can get this extra long fire shield, which you can use to save ammo. Not that the fire ammo is really tight in the stage, unless you mess up the ladder zip entry a lot of times, but there's also no reason to not to do it.
You try to save the ammo so you don't have to take the ammo before the last Wily fight. Like, it's possible to...
Yeah, it's possible to run out of it, but it's not really exactly tight.
Yeah.
Short stage.
There. Nice. So you can buffer this beam with that height if you get out of the wall at the middle of the ring. So you just come to the screen, hold right and B, and you get the right beam height every time for that zip.
Nice, I got the extra zip. Okay, so here we can do some frame perfect inputs to do this.
Nice. Dupes, nice. Nice. Oh, smack, Dupes. Let's go.
So that's all I needed, so I can mess up the rest, and it doesn't matter.
Let's get one smack. One smack. No.
Not this time.
Easy money.
Yeah, so you need to press B in a 1 frame window just as the block is leaving the screen. And so 1/60th of a second. Final stage. Pretty short one. We're gonna do a zip in the beginning, then a refight skip, and then fight the final boss. Basically, and that's basically it. Whoops. Whoops.
Oops. We good, we good.
Yeah, I shouldn't have menued again on the ladder, but...
Oy, that's too far away. There.
That's a mistake I make too commonly. But
No
hey, we
biggie.
got to make use of the backup beams that I accidentally picked up in while one.
And now, that is hard to explain how that works, but you use the lag and the height of the get in the wall.
Yeah, so the explosion of the bomb the boss throws is what triggers that, and it like.
It just plays with the pixels or something like that, or sprites, or.
Yeah, so the time is coming up on the final hit of this phase of the fight. Whoops.
Time.
Yeah.
Ah. When was your PB?
I should have a 19 if I just bothered doing any attempts, but my old PB that I still haven't improved is like 20, 25 or something.
Yeah. Let's say that doesn't really tell the story, but really good run.
Yeah, I was looking at the clock like 2 stages before the end, like, oh, am I gonna do a marathon PB? But yeah, just barely missed it, just like last time.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Right, so that's Mega Man 1, and coming up after we set up the second console here is Mega Man 2 race between Rufio and Ahmad. Stick around for that one.